So as you can see, our topic today is React with TypeScript, build a React component together. Our speaker is Sylvana Santos, and she started out as a science teacher. Now she is a software engineer at Codecademy, but her passion for teaching has not changed, as you'll see today. And that's why I really believe she's going to give a very helpful talk and demo for us. All right, so without further ado, Sylvana, please take it away.
Hi, everyone. Thank you for that lovely introduction, Darren. Let me go ahead and share my screen. And please yell at me if I'm not sharing it, because I did have one experience where I wasn't sharing for like 10 minutes and no one told me. But I think I'm good right now. Okay, cool. So thank you all for joining me here today. As Darren said, my name is Sylvana Santos, and I will be talking to you all about React with TypeScript. And it will include a demo portion where we code a React component together. And I will spare you the introduction to myself since Darren already did that. But yeah, I have been at Codecademy for about 1.5 years now. And so I've been able to build up some experience with React, Redux, Next.js, and of course, TypeScript. So I hope to share my knowledge with you all here today. So a quick run through of today's agenda. We'll start with an intro into what TypeScript is and the types of problems that it solves. Then we'll get into the fundamental concepts of TypeScript. And then we'll see how those concepts can be applied to React to make building a React component a lot easier. And then we'll end with a quick recap of what we learned. And I'll also share some resources that you can use to continue your learning journey with TypeScript. So let's get right into it. What is TypeScript and what problem does it solve? So TypeScript is actually two things. It is a language and it is a set of tools. So the language is actually a superset of JavaScript, meaning that it builds on top of JavaScript and it allows you to add type definitions to your code. But TypeScript is also a set of tools. It surfaces errors in your code while you're developing, so it makes writing good code a lot easier. And we'll see that in action today. So at this point, you might be thinking, well, I'm already writing React applications with pure JavaScript and it's going just fine. So why do I need to go through the trouble of adding TypeScript to my projects? Well, let's take a look at a scenario that you might have run into. So let's say that we have this function called welcome. It doesn't take in any parameters and it just logs a greeting, which in this case is just welcome. And so then somewhere in our code, we call this function, we don't give it any parameters, and all is good, working as expected. But let's say further down the line, an engineer comes along and they refactor our welcome function. And so they add this new parameter called has access. And depending on whether has access is true or false, we'll either log welcome or we'll log go away, a very aggressive message. So somewhere in our code, we have called welcome and our engineer who refactored our function forgot to update that use case. And so they run the application, but they don't get any output. There's no crash on the app. There's no errors. So they assume that everything is fine. But I think we can all agree that this would result in some unintended behavior because we would always be logging go away. We would never log welcome because we're not giving it that parameter. So this isn't great. So if we just added TypeScript to our project and made this a TypeScript file, we would immediately, as we're coding, get some feedback. TypeScript would give us an error that says, expected 1 argument, but got 0. An argument for has access was not provided. So just with this simple scenario, you can immediately appreciate that TypeScript makes coding a lot faster. It catches bugs in your code, and it allows you to refactor your code with a lot more confidence. Cool. So at this point, you might be thinking, well, I want to see it in action. How can I use TypeScript to see this error that you're talking about?